Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time from MegaPorkchopExpress. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Sorry about that. And this is for a Hong Kong movie that has two titles, Righting Wrongs and Above the Law. Now this came out in 1986, so it's well before, it's before Steven Seagal was above the law. Now, this is a film with Yuen Biao. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He's a guy that was with Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung back in the days of the opera school, Peking Opera School. And it seemed like of the three, he's the one that kind of got left by the wayside. Like Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung definitely became more popular. Although Yuen, very talented martial arts, very agile and flexible, fast. He would do films with Jackie Chan like Wheels on Meals. I think he was in Eastern Condors with Sammo Hung, which I love. Eastern Condors, that's a great movie. That's like their version of the not the Delta Force, the Dirty Dozen. Eastern Condors is a damn good film. This one, Yuen Biao plays a lawyer, and near the beginning of the film, someone makes an assassination attempt on a buddy of his. That he tries to stop it. He stops for a little bit, but ultimately his buddy, his compatriot, gets killed. And then he did like this car chase. I'm like, wow, this starts off with a bang. Damn, 5 minutes in, and we got people getting shot to shit. We got car chase. We got our lead shooting the car and the crash and burn, explosion. Damn, that's a way to open up a movie. This is a movie that you are watching more for the action than for the story or the characters. Apparently the bug didn't like that I said that. But it's true. I mean, you just say that for a lot of Hong Kong. Not every. Maybe if you don't even want to say for a good chunk of them, not really. But, even films I love, like Jackie Chan, Rumble in the Bronx. I'm fine with the story, serviceable, but you watch it for Jackie Chan's charm and the action, stunt sequences, and that's, even they would admit that's first and foremost in their radar, is that they looked at the action scenes first, and then they kind of create a story around it. The good thing about that is they get some really fucking good fight scenes and action scenes. And this has them. If you like Hong Kong action, this is worth a watch. The story, like I said, after that, and also this witness he had for a case, him and his family get killed. Pretty harsh. Just, an assassin shoots some of the people, the adults. The kids are left there crying over their dead, parents and such. Uncles, and so the assassin closes their door, locks it, puts a bomb on there, walks down and blows the whole place up. So even, we don't, because of the explosion, the kids die. So you definitely hate the bad guys. And Yuen Biao feels guilty. He feels bad and angry at the system because these mob bosses can go free, but yet these witnesses get killed, and then his one buddy got killed. Which, by the way, one thing that I found funny is at the beginning, after the car chase, he shoots at the car and crash and burn. You have two people trying to get out. Then immediately, it cuts to Yuen looking at the car, and you see an explosion, and now those two bodies are gone. There's nobody there. I thought, again, with that and some other stuff, there's some rough around the edges in terms of direction. Because, again, when you have two people, like, outside the window, kind of moving, trying to crawl out, and the next shot is behind Yuen looking at it, wide shot, and there's nobody there, and then it explodes, I'm like, at least put some dummies. At least it'll look like dummies, but at least something there, not just they fucking disappeared. What, did an alien come by and zap them out and teleport them in an instant? As soon as you blinked, they disappear. It's like, come on, man. But anyway, So Yuen is mad about this. He's not going to take it anymore, and he becomes a bit of a vigilante. He goes in, he kills his crime boss, gets out of there, and people find out and want to kill Yuen Biao. Cynthia Rothrock is in the film, and she plays an agent that looks into this case. Her and Yuen have a pretty good fight, and ultimately they work together. Now, Cynthia Rothrock is a martial artist that I reviewed one of her films, China O'Brien. And to talk a little bit about Cynthia Rothrock, really good martial artist. I don't think she's the greatest actress. I don't. But it's hard to judge her on this because her voice is dubbed. Like, no matter what version you see, her voice, even the English version, I don't think that's her voice. Because it's like strains like higher pitched. So I'm like, why is that even dubbed? Like, is that her voice? I don't think that's her voice. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but it didn't sound like her to me. And maybe my ears were defecting for some reason. Maybe they got pissed I slept on them the wrong way, decided to walk away, and fuck you, go find a fucking hearing aid. We ain't gonna do the shit anymore. I don't know. Thankfully it came back now. I don't know what the deal is, but so it's hard to judge her acting, but her martial arts are on point. Now at this point she had to deal with, I think it was Golden Harvest. Anyway, a deal to make action movies there. She was like one of the first American women to deal with martial arts there, at least to this extent. She had done a film called Yes, Madam, and then it led to like a 3-picture deal. She was supposed to do a film with Jackie Chan called Armor of God, but Armor of God is the film where Jackie Chan fell because she was jumping, it broke, he fell, hit his head, and it fucked up his head to the point blood was coming out of his ears. That's why to this day he's got like a hole in his head. And it's because of that accident off of Armor of God. So that postponement lost her the job, but then led her to being in this film. And like I said, she plays an agent. Oh, one quick thing. Very nice guy mentioned Jack Craven. Wealth of knowledge. He mentioned when I did my review of China O'Brien with Cynthia Rothrock, that was around the time that she was actually supposed to do a film with Sylvester Stallone. And I forgot who he said was going to direct it. Was it Walter Hill? Was it John McTiernan? Fuck, I forgot who he said was going to direct it, but it was going to be filmed with Sylvester Stallone and Cynthia Rothrock teaming together. But I know the director left because he didn't like the script. Maybe it was William Friedkin? It was like a director. I'm like, wow, he was directing it? I forget who it was, damn it. But anyway, there was at one point going to be a Cynthia Rothrock Sylvester Stallone team up, but apparently the director didn't like the script, because Stallone rewrote the script, and like he does a lot, and then that didn't come into fruition. So I do like Cynthia Rothrock as a martial artist. You definitely, if you want to see a showcase of her talents, this is a good film to do it. Whatever title, whether Righting Wrongs or Above the Law. But there are 2 versions of the film, which I'll get to that in a minute. The film is directed by Corey Yuen. Corey Yuen, he's probably most famous for directing No Retreat, No Surrender 1 and 2. He also helped direct The Transporter. Pretty much Corey Yuen did all the action stuff, while Louis Leterrier did like dialogue scenes. So pretty much Corey Yuen is what made The Transporter work. He's also in the film as his goofy partner, Cynthia Rothrock's character, which I don't know if you needed the goofy partner, but yeah, it was what it was. And I will say, when the action wasn't on screen, if I have to be honest, I wasn't really gung-ho about the plot. I mean, I'm a sucker for vigilante plots, but I pretty much, other than him trying to kill another one, and the person's already found dead, And that's when Cynthia Rothrock finds him and they get into a fight. The vigilante stuff is kind of, I don't want to say dropped, but it's pretty much almost immediately he's being found out who he really is and then being attacked. Like there's this parking garage, and again, when the action's there, is pretty damn well handled. I mean, in this parking garage, there's a point where these two bad guys have cars, and Yuen Biao is underneath the car, and the cars are driving while he's underneath. You know, here's the two cars together. Yuen Biao's like really underneath, and there's shots of him literally being dragged. I'm like, anything goes wrong, he's dead. He's going to get run over. So there's impressive stuff there. And there's like, he gets a baseball bat and kicking their ass. When we first see Cynthia Rothrock, it's her being an agent at this mahjong place. He's kicking bad guy ass. I do notice every once in a while, I guess for a specific stunt or like some specific fight bit, it's someone else and not Cynthia Rothrock. And I think she mentioned that it was funny that when they plugged someone else in, it was like a guy and not her. Just like she's doing these fight scenes, she knows what to do, but every once in a while you get like a different, like again, like a certain kick or a certain throw or a certain thing, and it's someone else. I will say that took me a bit out of the fight scenes. It's like, well, she's a damn good fight. Just make it, rework the fight scene so she does the whole thing herself. I'd rather you come to that fruition than, oh, here's a guy in Cynthia Rothrock's clothes. Maybe they thought we wouldn't notice, but I noticed. I'm like, wait, that was off. And then, obviously at this time, you couldn't just stop and go back when you're watching the theater, of course. And granted, you still had VHS, but I just didn't think people would do it that much. But so wait, it just took me out. Like, I'm trying to get into the scene. Wait, what's that? Okay, now I'm already taken out of the fight. But when you see her kicking ass and he's able to handcuff all these people around, Cynthia Rothrock is very talented on that basis. And like I said, Yuen tries to kill the second crime boss after that, but then the guy's already dead. Someone beat him to the punch. Cynthia Rothrock finds him, thinks he did it. He did this. And they have a pretty decent fight. I will say, it seems as if during the fight, I don't know if it was, maybe I'm looking a bit too much into it, but when you watch the fight, notice how it seems like Cynthia gets hit more than the star. Especially in the... It seems like there's much more times where she gets hit in the face, but then Yuen like never gets a hit on the face. Like, I don't think there's a moment where Cynthia Rothrock is able to get a hit, a punch or a kick across Yuen's face. But it seems like Yuen got more punches, and then the stuff she did get is like blocks. Or maybe jump and then take you down. I don't know if there's something more to that. I'm looking a bit more into it. It's a well choreographed fight scene, very fast, swift movements. They're both very talented, agile. It's a wonder to behold. It's just one of those things that I know is like, wait a minute, it seems like he's getting more hits on her, and it seems like as if she was told she's not allowed to hit the guy in the face, kicks, punches, anything. You think at least one or two of them, but still a well done fight that goes from inside to outside of the apartment. And then you have the subplot with this other kid being a witness, and then the bad guys kill the kid's grandpa, and then the kid is able to tell Cynthia Rothrock, no, this guy didn't do it, he's innocent. Like I said, just the story, when it stuck to the story, I can't say I was that, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just, Like, other than him being a lawyer, like the stuff at the beginning, like he has a flashback to these witnesses that he promised would be safe, and then he's feels guilt about what happened to them afterward, even though it's not his fault. Not really. After that, that's kind of gone. Again, it's not like you get to see a lot of him be a vigilante to this and this and this. And then even Cynthia Rothrock, like, other than when we first see her, she fights Yuen Biao, then she fights this assassin that killed killed someone, which is actually a pretty good fight because it's Cynthia Rothrock versus Karen Shepard. But even then, it seemed like, again, Karen Shepard got more hits on Cynthia until the very end, where she's able to use this pole to fuck up Karen Shepard. But see, like before that, it's like, okay, well, you guys are blocking, but Karen Shepard's going to get more hits on you. I'm like, what's the deal? Like, is Cynthia Rothrock just, unless it's some bad guys, like when we first see her, then when we last see her, it's like when she has a one-on-one fight, she's got to be hit more than do the hitting. And that could be fine at the beginning, but then really go to town at the end. But I don't know. Maybe just me being stupid. But there's still damn good fight scenes. One of my favorites is there's an assassin trying to kill Yuen Biao in his apartment. Because what I like about it, number one, both very talented, but it's like being smashed through the whole apartment. Going through glass or glass cases or even through like light tubes, I don't know how you put it, where someone gets fried. Like there's this cool bit during the fight where it's over the top, but it's very fun, where Yuen Biao does this 3-piece kick. Where he does like 1, 2, 3. Like he kicks the guy 1, he kicks the guy 2, and kicks him so hard, like the guy's going upside down, so his head's here, and his feet's here, and then quickly does 3, kicks the guy. So while he's upside down, kicks the guy goes forward and slides over the table. Yeah, I mean, it's over the top, but it was a lot of fun, and again, Yuen shows a lot of ability, a lot of agility, and just quick. Like the final fight he has with the bad guy is the best fight of the movie, and it's just beautiful shot. He has this beautiful kick swirling that kicks the guy in the face. And then before that, Cynthia Rothrock just find a few workers. That was well done. The interesting thing about this is this film has 2 endings. When I say that 2 different versions, it has 2 different endings. And to go on them, I gotta go into spoilers. But before that, again, I would say this. There's some rough around the edges, dubbing, things of that nature. The story didn't really keep me invested. But I would say this, if you like Hong Kong action, you like fight scenes, you like Yuen Biao and Cynthia Rothrock, you want to see them up to par and a couple well-done fight sequences, it's worth a watch, at least for that. But, like I said, there's 2 different endings. There's a downbeat ending, and there's a more upbeat ending. The downbeat ending, I think, is like the hour and 36-minute version, and the more upbeat's about an hour and 34 minutes, give or take. But originally, when this ended, spoiler, Cynthia Rothrock fights these workers, I should say. Then the bad guy stabs her a bit with a drill, tells some stuff about her, and then stabs and kills her. Puts a drill right into her neck. She's hung there. I'm like, damn, she died in No Retreat, No Surrender 2, after, and died in this. And then that's when Yuen Biao sees it, horrified, has the fight, chases him on this plane, fucks him up, kills the bad guy, jumps out before the plane explodes, but then when he hits it, the water, he dies. Which then made me go, then what's the point of him jumping out of the fucking plane if he was going to die anyway? I'm like, if he's going to die, you might as well be like, fuck you, and then blow up the plane. It's like, well, again, he jumps out of the plane as if, oh, he's going to live. Nah, never mind, he died. I don't understand the rationalization of that. Where it's there's, the bad guys are violent, but then ending on such a super dark ending. Apparently the audience didn't like it, so they reshot it. Now, granted, I do like the idea that people have their choice. If you prefer that ending, and some people say it's realistic, it's dark, it's brutal, I appreciate that. It makes it a bit different from the pack. That's cool. To each their own. You have your choice. I still think it's kind of, I don't know if I want to say inconsistent, but it feels a bit weird considering the rest of the movie. I would just say, well, imagine like a Jackie Chan film where that happened, but that kind of did. It's called The Prisoner. Although that's really not a Jackie Chan film. It's falsely advertised as a Jackie Chan film, but Jackie's barely in that film. He's barely in that movie. But imagine if, like, Rumble in the Bronx, or Operation Condor, or any number of Jackie Chan films ended with him dying, and then the other person died as well. Like, imagine Super Cop, right? Imagine Super Cop ended with Michelle Yeoh getting her head cut off by the helicopter blades, and then Jackie Chan stops the helicopter, but then falls, but then he's dead. The end. You'd be like, well, what the fuck? That's not what I felt. But there is a different ending that they did shot more material, where instead of stabbing Cynthia, he just cuts her. And then, granted, I'm like, well, she's a cop agent, so I don't know why she was seen so, but that's what they did. And then that's when Yuen Biao comes in. And you tell there's a bit of clunkiness to it, like there's a bit, how do I put it? Yuen Biao's ready to fight the guy, and he looks over, and he's looking over here. Now, you can tell the way he's looking up here. If he's supposed to be looking at Cynthia Rothrock who's on the ground, his eyes would be down here. But instead he's looking forward because he's looking at the body of the dead Cynthia Rothrock. So that's why there's a bit of clunkiness to it. But they have the fight. There's a fire explosion. Cynthia Rothrock's like, no, you go get him. I'll be fine. Then she runs out. And then after that fall, which is that's a damn crazy skydiving stunt. To give credit to that stuff, I mean, I don't know how the hell they did that. It looks like someone literally just jumped out of the plane, and there's a wide shot where a guy, I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? I would still like to know how the fuck that happened. Because it looks like a real person just jumped out of a fucking plane. Is that guy alive? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, it's crazy stunt. And yeah, I get the realism portion. If you land that far, from that high, in the water, you're dead. Neck broken, body pulverized. I get that. I don't go into Hong Kong, I guess you call Kung Fu. I guess I don't go in them for realism. I'm not saying that cannot happen. It's just I'm more into it for escapism. That's just, again, realism can work. I didn't think it worked. It just wasn't. It just felt out of the blue almost in that other version. That's just me. But here, he survives. They resuscitate him. But again, the clunkiness is still there because, boom, the music starts. I don't want to say it's upbeat, but kind of while the judge is reading off this sentencing. And then even that's different depending on the dub. I'm discombobulated. On the English dub, it says he gets 8 years. In another dub, it says he gets life in prison. That's two very different fucking terms. And that's done because there's a theme, I don't know if this way nowadays, but back then with Hong Kong cinema, that if you break the law, there has to be a way for you to go to jail and get comeuppance. That's why if you watch like Police Story, the ending is supposed to be that Jackie Chan's going to be arrested and go to prison because, again, they don't like if someone gets away scot-free. It's like, nope, you still did a crime, you have to pay for your crime. That was the thing they were kind of adamant about at that time for Hong Kong cinema. So again, I would say, even though there's still some clunkiness to it, again, because like the sentencing, the guy's talking the sentencing while this loud music is playing, and like this is dire because the guy's going to prison. And again, the way his face is so dire is because in the one dub it's life in prison, but then the English version says 8 years. But still, he's going to prison, he's in jail. It's like, I'm glad you survived, dude. You survived because you either going to go in life in prison or 8 years is better than life, but... So again, both endings are a bit clunky to me. To me, I would have preferred more of Yuen Biao and Cynthia Rothrock actually working together, because you don't really get to see them work together, and that's a shame. That was a missed opportunity. And that's why I wouldn't say I didn't love the film. Like, you have these two talented people, let them actually fight together. Like, they fight against each other, but when they join forces, it should be them going to this compound or this facility or this hangar. There's a bunch of bad guys, and they're both doing their fights, and there's points where they help each other. And then you have Cynthia Rothrock fight this one guy, and then Yuen Biao fight this one guy, but they both team up to fight this one guy. Or it could be a twofer, where like it'll be 2-on-1, and then Yuen Biao gets like two trying to fight Cynthia Rothrock, and she's doing her best, but then Yuen Biao helps. And then times it's Yuen and Cynthia versus one person. Then it's 2-on-2, and I think that would have been much more satisfying. And again, don't have the fucking dark, bleak ending where everybody dies because, oh, fuck it. I don't know, maybe some development of the plot, or... Like I said, it's one of those things that... Honestly, I would say if you could find the fight scene compilation, it'd be worth a watch just to watch that. But if you do find, I mean, it's only 90-some minutes. And, I don't think it's a bad... It just... I won't put it up there with... Like, I think Eastern Condors is a much... I much prefer that over this. I much prefer, some of Jackie's movies. Like Police Story 2, Operation Condor, Armor of God, over this. I hate to say it. This has much better action scenes than China O'Brien. But sadly, I probably would prefer the movie China O'Brien over this, just for... Even though, I mean, with the story's worked out a little bit better. And the ending just not as clunky compared to this. But I just see enjoying this more for the action scenes. I just see that. So that's what I mean. The action scenes are cool. Some nice done stunt work. Very cool showcase of Yuen Biao's agility. Although Eastern Condors does that too. And I think that's a better film. But I mean, and yes, I would say I like Steven Seagal's Above the Law more than this. Because that story and ending is more satisfying to me than this. But this is still a decent film. I don't love it, but it was, to say for the 10th time, and my neighbor's rooster's like, get to the point, stop repeating yourself. I know. If you like Hong Kong action, it's worth a look, at least for that. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.